repeat a high level, that high level is what you're going to become familiar with. The most important part about this video is that I want to show that repetition, consistency with a high level of training over the course of time is going to get you the results that you want. So in this training progression, what I like to show is the progressions of the same movement from step 1 all the way to step 3. So with the footwork, what I'm trying to do here is the crossover footwork toward the step-in forehand. And in step 2, I'm adding the swing. And then in step 3, I'm adding the ball with the ball machine. So everything is very similar from start to finish. In part 2 of this video, I'm going to show you the same progression of footwork, swing, and hitting balls. However, I want to show you how to set up the court with a bunch of students or a team situation. In this video, we're going to talk about footwork and ground strokes together, and the progression that you need to have a nice fluid ground stroke. Over time, if you repeat a high level, that higher level is what you're going to become more familiar with. In this video, I'm working on the side-to-side movement, forehand to backhand ground stroke. First thing I do is footwork practice, and I practice this in the doubles alley for the short movements. The next thing is the footwork and swing practice together. So once I've mastered the footwork, then I add the racket. The third thing is I get a ball machine or a coach, and I get a pretty consistent feed one side to the other. So you can see that from one step to the next, each part builds on the next, finally hitting the ball to make the progression complete. Watch again the similarities between each part. When training these parts, I like to really think about how important it is to maintain consistency throughout. You're hoping that more you repeat a familiar movement, the stronger that movement will become. Let's say we want to work on the step-in forehand on the baseline, and it's a short distance. This is how I would look at it, is that we're going to start in the alley, move to the right, and work on our forehand, whether it's a loop backswing or a straight back. So then we would get the racket and start working on the actual swing. Step 3, we would then get the ball machine out so we can get a consistent feed to that spot. Example number 2 would be a forehand curl-behind, short distance. We would work again, step 1, bring all the kids into the doubles alley and just work on that short curl-behind movement. Second thing is to work with the footwork and the swing practice. If you can correct some of these swing issues prior to hitting a ball, it's going to make your life as a coach a lot easier. So finally, then we're working on the curl-behind back pedal, just like a mid-distance from the middle of the court. Part 1 is the footwork practice, trying to get my balance and my footwork set up where I can do this correctly. Step 2, get the footwork and the swing practice done right without the ball. Focus on one thing at a time. Part 3 now is where you're hitting the ball. You got to put the footwork and the swing visualizations into practice. So in review, part 1, I really want to focus on the footwork, whether it's short, mid, or long. Part 2 is where I want to work on the footwork and the swing practice. And part 3 is where the kids get to show us exactly how well they're doing with the actual stroke. And you can get a quick read on what students are getting the footwork at what time. And you can go back and practice each one of those pieces with individual students that are lacking in those areas. In part 2 of this video, I'm going to show you the same progression of footwork, swing, and hitting balls. However, I want to show you how to set up the court with a bunch of students or a team situation. So part 2 here is where I want to help you with teaching the progression with a large group of students. I use the tennis court lines as the short, mid, and long distances. So here's how I would set up the courts. The court on the left is where I would do this to side, and the courts on the right, I would be the box drills. So the next thing is to show the kids what type of footwork we're going to be doing. So here's the ball machine sample drills. And again, here's the side-to-side basket feeding drills. Step 5 would be the hitting drills, short court, and then long court down the lines and out in the alleys. Here are the strategies for just single shots down the middle, or pick a side, or the cross courts or down the line strokes. So the purpose behind all this is to work on the short, mid, and long distances. Footwork diagrams are right here, where this is a shuffle. Here's a crossover shuffle, and then the next one is a crossover run, and then the curl behind back pedal. So this is a team training situation where you have all the kids on the left court going the short, mid, and long distances, and then on the right court you're doing the box drill where you're working on that very footwork, going sideways, and then you're running up to the net, and then you're going sideways again, working on that same footwork. So the next step to this is either a coach or a ball machine feeding you these balls to work on all this footwork movement. In this situation, you're doing the short, mid, and long distances side to side. And we're trying to mimic this as much as we can toward a real, actual point. Okay, we're working on the shuffle here. So we're going to shuffle back to the middle and then turn and run like we would in a singles point. So we're training the full distance, long court in a singles situation. The next long movement is the shuffle to the middle and then curl behind to that single sideline. So shuffle back as if you're playing a point, and then you're going to curl behind as if you're going to try to run and hit a forehand inside out like Andre Agassi. Okay, and the last long movement side to side I like to train is the run and crossover shuffle. What you're going to see me do is a crossover kind of a run, and then turn my hips in the middle, and then crossover run again. I'm trying to get back to the center as fast as I can, and the way I can do that is with a run. So the next part of these videos would be to do the same progression with the up and back and the diagonal movements, making sure that you cover all the pieces and parts of the tennis strokes that you need to have a well-balanced game.